Greetings. This is Adam Rafferty, and in this series of lessons, I'm going to teach you how to play my arrangement of The Shadow of Your Smile by Johnny Mandel. I'd like to start off by saying we are now in the middle of the coronavirus. I hope that soon you will be watching this and the coronavirus will be a memory. But if you're in the middle of it, as I am currently in March 2020, I wish you and your families a healthy, safe journey through it. And you're in my thoughts and prayers. I'm currently isolated right now in my studio, and you're probably isolated at home. So I hope that this lesson finds you well and gives you some challenging and interesting new music to work on during this time. Okay, so Shadow of Your Smile by Johnny Mandel. This was the love theme from the movie called The Sandpiper, starring Elizabeth Taylor. And this is truly a jazz standard. I approach this much more like a jazz guitar player would than the way I approach my pop arrangements. I'm not so much trying to do a photorealistic version of what a singer or a band is doing. I'm kind of creating my own version of the phrasing of the melody and the chord changes. And to be honest, I don't know the lyrics, so the lyrics are not really a consideration. There are many famous versions of this one. Many of the jazz greats have recorded it. Jazz greats such as Wes Montgomery, Oscar Peterson, Joe Pass. My late great mentor, Mike Longo, played this one very often as a beautiful solo ballad. And the version that really pushed me over the edge to learn it, the inspiration to make an arrangement, came from my recently seeing the Errol Garner 1968 Live in Copenhagen video, which you can see on YouTube. His version knocked me out. So I've sort of modeled some things after his version. I want to describe to you that in learning this, it might be a stretch for you, but it's a lot less exact than many of my arrangements. You know, an arrangement such as Misty, for example, you've got to do the exact fingering if you want to get the bass line and melody. But this one, I treat a little bit more like I'm a jazz guitar player. And so I might not play things exactly the whole time, exactly the same the whole time. So if there's a slight variance between what I do in the YouTube video or what I do and even the tabs I'm going to show you, I want you to try to take all the different variations in so that you can have maybe 2 or 3 ways to navigate certain situations, okay? So we're going to be in standard tuning, but we're going to be in the key of F, meaning when we finally resolve, we're going to find out that we've been in the key of F major the whole time. And so that's, if you want to tune up to me, that's what my E minor, that's what my open strings are kind of sounding like. So let's get started learning The Shadow of Your Smile. All right. All righty. Let's take a look at the first 2 measures of The Shadow of Your Smile. Now, allow me to explain the musical inspiration for this. If you refer on YouTube to that Errol Garner, I believe it was 1968 Copenhagen, that live video, he does an intro where I've tried to copy the feel. It's this sort of very straight 8 arpeggio that almost sounds like this quasi-classical thing, and you don't really know what's coming. And the satisfaction comes when the melody of the song comes in. So we're going to do kind of a neat arpeggio. I'm only going to show you the first 2 measures in this video, so it won't be too long. We're going to come down a D minor chord. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to start on the note A, 5th fret, then going to do a pull off. It's an arpeggio with 1 pull off. Then a D. And then we're going to do the same thing. So an octave down. So the notes are A, F, E, D. Then the same thing an octave down. Now, this may present some serious challenges for you for your right hand. And this is actually, you could almost use this as a technical exercise. So I have a very peculiar technique. You know, it's based on classical guitar, but I've kind of been doing this because it gives me a fatter sound on the left hand, on the fingertips. That feels a little less reliable, so I kind of do that. But what you want to do is you want to get a fat sound on each finger. So whatever guitar you're playing, whatever configuration of picks or nails or whatever you use, look to play relaxed and look to get a fat tone on each sound without playing too hard, and try to get it so that it feels secure. So I can't guarantee that my fingering is going to be the right fingering for you. Okay, and I experiment with different fingers. But you could practice it at this tempo, like a walking bass line. 1, 2, 3, 4. I spend a little bit of time every day playing scales with my fingers. Things like the groove scales, which you can see on adamrafferty.com. And this is where doing some daily exercises like that will help, because you'll get a sense for where the strings are under your fingers. So if this is your first time playing some kind of single line figure like this, just do your best and experiment with which fingers feel reliable. Okay? So I happen to be doing like some combinations of 3rd finger, middle finger, meaning ring finger, and then I'm putting my 3rd finger there for some security, and then doing index and middle. But like I said, I can't guarantee that this fingering is going to feel right for you. So you might use your thumb, you might use 1 finger. What I want to show you, okay, I'm sorry if I'm rambling a little bit. A neat trick that I used as a jazz guitar player when I played lots of solos. Watch this, to use a different finger in the same fret. You see how I'm playing that with my 3rd finger, and then that with my 2nd finger, and then going back to 4, 3, 1. That way you get the feeling of always using a different finger, and because I never liked this smushing kind of thing like this. Because then you get 2 notes ringing at the same time when maybe you don't want that. That helps keep the notes short. So now that I've spoken for about 5 minutes, let's just practice this together. Okay, we're going to go blip, 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 blip at that tempo. Okay, and make the notes nice and short. Just as practice, okay? 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and. again. And the beauty of my third finger being planted is it's up there. See, the minute you can't see it because the other fingers are in the way of the camera. I play. By the time I'm playing that note, that third finger's there, and I have it as an anchor. And I'm also keeping my thumb here as an anchor. So right hand wise, I kind of know where I am, sort of. Okay. One more time. Let's play this part together. Okay. 1, 2, 3, and. Okay, and then at the faster tempo, we're going to do a pull-off there. Okay. Alrighty, so that's the first 2 measures of the intro. I know this might be some sort of new kind of technical stuff for you. Let's go on to measures 3 and 4. All right. All right, we are back with measures 3 and 4 of the intro. In the first 2 measures, we were arpeggiating downward on a D minor chord with an extra little E. That's the E minor chord, and that's actually a passing tone. On measures 3 and 4, we're going to play over an E flat 7 chord. Okay, so I was thinking if this is in the key of D minor, the intro, because we're flirting with the key of D minor, that's sort of like a 5 chord. And if you don't understand exactly what I mean there, that'll provide a nice tension to spring us back to D minor eventually. So the next arpeggio is over E flat 7. And let me show you how I do that. You're going to, on the 6th fret, play your pinky. And you're going to pull off to the 3rd fret. Okay. And right hand, it's similar to what I showed you in the last video. So you're going to play this. I play this first one with my ring finger. My thumb is planted. And then middle, index. And by the time I'm doing that, the 3rd finger is planted. Then I'm using index and middle. Let me do that slowly. Sorry, that was a little bit fast. Then now if you're a theory buff and you're curious about why is this an E flat 7 chord, we're playing the 5th, the 3rd, the root, the 7th. Then again, theoretically, we're doing the exact same thing an octave lower. 5th, 3rd, root, 7th. And we can practice that a couple times. Again, this might be brand new to play this type of stuff for you, so just go easy on it. Let's do this like a walking bass line. Bing, bing, bing. And I'm going to leave the pull-off out when I play it as a bass line. A 1, check, 2, check, 1, 2, ready, and... Okay. Why don't we try measures 1, 2, and then 3 and 4 at that tempo? Play it along with me. Okay, so we're going to do it on the D minor chord as I showed you in the last video. 1, 2, ready, and... Now let me show you something that I did. It's funny, sometimes I don't realize what I'm doing until there's some forward motion in the music. For the second D minor arpeggio, you can do this. Watch, I go, bang. This is the first one. And then your index finger's all the way down here. You can just use the inside flesh of your finger for that, so you don't have to hop the fingertips. So, see? I call that a hinge bar. So that's, I'm not sure if I do that. That could be a thing that maybe sometimes I do. But that's a way to help you not have to hop that finger. See? Okay. So one more time, let's play measures 1 through 4 at a moderate tempo, kind of as if it was a walking bass line. 1, 2, go 2, check, go 1, 2, ready, and. Okay, so like I said, at that tempo, even though I can't play real fast with fleshy fingers, I'm looking to get a solid, grounded kind of tone from each finger. Okay, let's go now to measures 5 and 6 of the intro. All right. Alrighty, we are back, and now we're going to do measures 5 and 6 of the intro. And I just want to give you a little background as to how I was thinking about this, so that you understand maybe how one might construct an intro like this. So I copied the arpeggio articulation idea from Errol Garner, but I knew that I had to, at least for myself, have some sort of underlying chord progression. And as a jazz musician, one of the things I know, if I want to get to D minor, I mean, see, the thing is, I've got a lot of tunes on backlog that I can refer to the changes. But I know that before the D minor, I'm going to want some sort of A7, because that leads into D minor. So let's think of the end of the intro, bar 8. I know I'm aiming at D minor. And I know that before that, I'm going to want an A7. Now, something that might come before the A7 would be some kind of E minor or E minor 7 flat 5 or E7, some kind of E. So what happens at the point now, at bar 5, is I do something that could be construed as an E7, because I've done D minor, blank, 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 a D minor, blah, 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 E flat. And now I want to go. That's basically what I want to outline. Because I know that it'll get me to the right place. So I have this sort of, that might have sounded a little peculiar, but let me just play you the chords. Imagine we're hearing arpeggios on top of this. 2, 3, 4. Blank. Bum, 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 bum. That's sort of the chord changes that I knew would fill up 8 bars somewhat okay. But I wanted to add a little bit of interest. So you might have noticed that for the E7 chord, I played this thing. Guitarists always say it looks like a diminished. It's E7 flat 9. But we're going to arpeggiate that like a G sharp 7 arpeggio, diminished 7. So let me show you what that is. 4th fret, 7th fret. Then 5th fret, 8th fret. So it's 1, 4, 1, 4. Okay. Then 6th fret, 9th fret. So you're doing 1, 4, 1, 4, 4, 1, 4, and then it's going to stop after that. We're going to go. Now you can play that any way that feels reliable for your right hand. Let's do that once, because it only happens once. Let's do that once, like the walking bass line tempo. Bang, 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 bang. Okay, 1, check, 2, check, 1, 2, ready, and. Again, up here, I'm kind of planting that 3rd finger there. It just keeps the string quiet and lets me know where my right hand should be. Let's do it again. A 1, check, 2, 1, 2, ready, and. So I'm doing those 2 strings with index and middle. Since the ring fingers on the high E string, those are rather conveniently placed. When we do this faster, we're going to do this first one as a hammer-on. Maybe even 2. Like I said, it's a little different each time. Then, measure 6, it's going to be a similar idea. We're going to do an upward arpeggio that fits over A7 with a flat 9. Don't worry if you don't know what flat 9 means. It's going to look like this. 5th fret, 8th fret, then 6th fret, 5th fret. Those are the first notes. Now watch this. 8th fret, then you're going to stay on the 11th, you're going to stay on the 2nd string and go up to the 11th fret with the 3rd finger, and then play the 9th and 12th on the high E string. So the best way to see that is to see this as a separate unit. Those 3. And then that is 1 unit. And the nice thing about sliding on the B string is that you're not going to get any string squeak. You're not going to get any string noise. So this is a rather complex little intro. I'm surprised actually with myself at how each 2 measures is taking a little bit of instruction, but I'm trying to show you the points because there's a lot of training from my classical guitar and from my jazz guitar that went into being able to play and conceive of something like this. So let's now play these 2 measures 4 times. I'm going to play it through so you can practice along with me. Here goes. 1, 2, 1, 2, 4th fret. That was just the switch. And you're going to stop there. Okay? Again, same spot. So we're going to start at the ba 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 ba. Okay? Here we go. 4th fret. 1, 2, 3, and a 1, 2, ready, play. One more time. Let's do it a little bit slower, starting from the 4th fret. A 1, 2, 3, 4. One last time, same slow tempo. A 1, 2, ready, and. So this, so far, and we're going to do measures 7 and 8 in the next video, but this is a wonderful little etude to try to figure out which fingers are reliable and how you can get sort of a fat sound on each string with your right hand. When you see my hand like this, I'm using very little strength. Like with my thumb, I'm just letting it fall, even though it's falling behind the fingers, and that's unconventional. I'm just letting it fall, and those fingers, I'm using this first joint. Okay, so let's go on to bars 7 and 8 of the intro. All right. All righty, we are back. We're at bars 7 and 8 of the intro. And, you know, to be more exact about what happens in bar 8, it's a pickup to the melody. So the melody of the song happens before the actual beat 1. That's what's meant by a pickup. So the sha-da-da-da, I think the lyric is the shadow of your smile. Smile is beat 1. So we're going to actually do the pickup, the last arpeggio, and the pickup to the song in this video. Okay, we left off with our 4th finger on the 12th fret E string, and you're going to do a pull off there. Okay, so that's going to be beat 1 of bar 7. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Just so you understand, once we put the whole thing into motion, the D is going to be on beat 1. So let's just, for the sake of learning, let's play D with our 2nd finger. And then we're going to go back to our downward D minor arpeggio. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Let's do that slowly. 1, 2, chick, 2, chick, 1, 2, ready, and. Similar to what we've already done. The pull-offs don't make sense at the super slow tempo. That's why I'm not doing them. Okay, let's do that one more time together. 1, 2, ready, and. Okay, now, pickup of the melody. Watch this. Don't let those notes ring over, actually. Dun, dun. Okay. And now my thumb has been hanging out patiently on the 6th string during that. I should have said that. And it's going to be or a pull off. And it's going to be an E minor chord. But you're only going to play those 2 strings. Okay, we're going to get to that in the next video. What I'd like to do now is we're going to play the whole intro like a walking bass line twice, and then I'm going to play it slightly more up to tempo with some pull-offs, which you'll see with the little slurs in the tablature on the video. You'll see where the pull-offs are. Just kind of helps phrase things nicely and makes it a little easier to play, actually. But let's do it first as a bass line, 2 times through. So it's going to be at this tempo. Bip, bang, 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 bang. Okay, ready? Here we go. From the top. A 1, a 2, a bang, 2, ready, and. Well, it seems I did a couple of the pull-offs. Okay, let's do it one more time for practice. I'll try to go even slower. Bing, bang, bang, bang. 1, 2, a 1, 2, ready, and. Okay, so one thing that you should know, if you just played that along with me at that tempo, the fingers that you choose for the right hand, when you play something slow, that might not be the fingering that you're going to need to play fast. So what I suggest doing is, what you do is you set your goal as the sound. So mine is blip, 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 blip. Now, I kind of want that sound at that tempo. And the hands somehow find a way. I don't force a solution on there. I try different things and the solution emerges. But like the very sort of definite way that I just played these on the slow version may not apply 100% to the fast version. So, you know, generally we think, well, we practice it slow and then we just speed it up. It's not always the case. If you consider walking to be physically completely different from jogging or running, jogging is more than simply walking fast. It's a different set of moves altogether. So let's do this now at a slightly faster tempo. Go bing, bing, ding, 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 ding. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and. Now that's pretty tricky for me. So if you couldn't get it, don't worry about it. You'll practice it, and you can vary it. This is, you know, you can even make an entirely new intro up. I'm just showing you how I did mine, and like I said, this is a wonderful little etude. Now, and then sometimes I do the pull off there, sometimes I don't. I almost prefer not to. So why don't we, now you know what the pickup is, let's start the next video, which is bars 1 and 2 of the song, with that melody statement. All right, let's keep going. All right, we are back, and in this video we're going to do bars 1 and 2 of the melody of The Shadow of Your Smile with the pickup leading up. And so allow me to just play you the melody that we're going to do in this video without any of the bass line, without any of the other stuff. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 3. Okay, so that melody. We're going to deal with that now. Now, the first order of business will be just simply putting bass notes under this. Now, for most of this arrangement, I actually do kind of a simplified variation of my typical boo-boom rhythm in the bass. Very often in arrangements, I do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, boo-boom, 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 boo-boom. But that's quite a lot of movement. So in this one, there's going to be a lot of playing on beat number 1 and then the end of 2. So like boop, ba, chicka, bop, ba. I'm going to be doing that rhythm quite a bit in the bass. So now what I'd like to do is just let's play that melody nice and slowly and add some bass notes to it. So we're going to start here. Hammer. And then the low E string and the B string together. And sometimes in tempo, I pull that off, meaning with the finger. But when I go slow and teach it, it doesn't feel right. So you could either pluck it or do a pull off. Now, I'm there on the E string. That helps keep things nice and tidy. We won't have any E string ringing. Okay, so now the first thing that I do in my mind, that's the melody note, that's ringing out. And now I try to fill the voicing with those notes. Now on the tabs or in guitar notation, you can't see what I'm thinking. So that's why I'm telling you this. This is melody, this is the singer. And the bass just played right at the same time, and now that's keyboards or guitar or whatever you want to call it. So it's very effective to play the melody and then come down the notes of the voicing in a descending manner rather than just go, which is what most solo guitarists playing this tune tend to do. They do this approach. And they try to strum a whole chord there. So what I'm doing is I'm extracting the bass and the melody, and then I'm playing a little bit of what might fit in the middle. Okay, now the next move is a little bit tricky. I'm going to play the E string, and then those are both melody notes, but I'm going to try to play the C sharp here in such a manner that the E string keeps ringing, so without bonking it. And that's not easy to do, so I have to kind of make sure with this index finger I'm landing a certain way. If you can't do that, that's okay, because it doesn't need to ring over, but it's just a little thing that I like. Okay? And then I add these two. So it looks like a but then these two notes are not melody notes. These are accompaniment notes. Now the syncopation of the melody, listen to the rhythm that I'm doing it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2. So I'm going bo bump 1, 2 ba 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 bang gong gong bang 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 bang. I'm hitting on quite a lot of offbeats. On a guitar level, it just looks like I'm arpeggiating a lot of stuff from the top note down, which I am, of course. But on the arranger level, I'm allowing the melody notes to ring longer and playing those inner harmony notes a little quieter and allowing them to also ring. So we get a fuller sonic picture, hopefully. I then, with the thumb and index, I'm playing this A7 flat 9. With the thumb and index, I sort of do a pinch on the G string and the A string, because that's the melody. And then I go, I'm playing a D minor arpeggio there. And now, those upper strings are the accompaniment. You see, because the melody got way down on the G string, so now I'm trying to allow that to ring, playing stuff around it. Okay, so take a look at the tabs and my fingers as they go by to see the syncopations, because all the notes are hit at different times. Okay, here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Okay, and then I just graze with that finger. And then let me show you that chord. It's a G7 sharp 11. I know it sounds very fancy. Don't let that scare you. It's actually a G13 sharp 11. Open E, 2nd fret, 4th fret, 3rd fret. Okay, one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Aha, I just noticed something that I do, that I might do. Maybe I grab an A in the bass there. I have an instinct to go root to the 5th on chords. It's an automated instinct, and sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. This is one of those little variations. Let me do this for you one more time slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Okay, let's go on to bars 3 and 4.